Imagine you're standing in a room full of people, but suddenly your eyes lock onto one person. There's something about them, something magnetic, something you can't ignore. It's not just their appearance, it's the way they make you feel. That feeling has power. And if you want to understand what men truly crave in a woman, it's not what you usually think. It's not only about beauty, and it's definitely not about perfection. It's about the emotions they experience with her. Stay with me, because today we're going deep into what makes a man fall in love and stay committed. Love isn't only about attraction, it's about connection. Men don't fall for women just because they look good. They fall for women who make them feel alive, motivated, and appreciated. But here's the real truth. I'm going to show you the 6 key qualities that make a man not only notice you, but choose you. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the psychology of love and stepping into your full strength. Ready? Let's begin. Let's start with respect, the foundation of any true relationship. Men don't just want respect, they need it. But here's something important. Respect doesn't mean agreeing with every word he says or every choice he makes. It's not about putting him on some high pedestal or treating him like a flawless hero. Real respect is much deeper. It's about recognizing his humanity, his strengths, his weaknesses, his efforts, and his difficulties. It's about seeing him exactly as he is and still valuing him. When a man feels respected, he feels seen. He feels important, and that is a feeling he will hold on to with both hands. Think about the world he lives in, a world that constantly pressures men to be stronger, smarter, and more successful. A woman who genuinely respects him becomes a place of safety. She becomes the one person who doesn't judge him for his mistakes or demand perfection from him. Instead, she notices his efforts, celebrates his wins, and stands beside him during his struggles. But respect is something that must be earned. You don't give it to just anyone. You offer it to a man who shows honesty, responsibility, and kindness. When you give that kind of respect, it creates a strong message. I see you, I value you, I believe in you. And that message touches a man's heart in a powerful way. But let's be clear, respecting a man is not the same as shrinking yourself. It doesn't mean giving up your needs or ignoring your boundaries. In fact, a woman who truly respects herself is far more capable of respecting others. When you know your worth, you can give respect without losing yourself. And that's the type of woman a man deeply appreciates, a woman who respects him but also expects respect in return. So how do you show respect in a way that truly matters? It's found in the small moments. It's the way you listen to him, not just to reply, but to understand. It's how you acknowledge his efforts, even when things don't go perfectly. It's the way you encourage his dreams and support his goals, even if they aren't the same as yours. It's how you stay with him during hard times, reminding him that he's not facing life alone. When a man feels respected, he doesn't just feel loved, he feels stronger. He feels like he can take on the world, not to prove himself, but because he knows someone believes in him. That's the foundation of a love that lasts. Respect isn't only an emotion, it's a choice. And when you choose to respect a man who deserves it, you build a connection that cannot be easily broken. Now let's talk about something many overlook. Men love a challenge. But not just any challenge. They're attracted to a woman who pushes them to think deeper, aim higher, and grow beyond who they were yesterday. This isn't about pretending to be hard to get or creating unnecessary problems. It's about being a woman with her own life, her own dreams, and her own identity. A woman who doesn't just follow but leads. A woman who doesn't just agree but questions. A woman who doesn't just live, but thrives. Here's the real truth. Men don't want a woman who is too predictable or someone who changes herself to fit his expectations. They want a woman who keeps them engaged, a woman who inspires them to grow and evolve. When a man connects with a woman who challenges him intellectually, he becomes more thoughtful. He's pushed to think, to question, to explore ideas he wouldn't normally consider. That feels exciting to him. It's not about fighting or arguing, it's about being curious and having meaningful conversations that open his mind. Emotionally, a woman who challenges a man is one who sets boundaries. She knows her value and refuses to settle for less. She expects truth, effort, and respect. And when a man meets a woman like that, he is encouraged to rise to her level. He becomes more aware of his own weaknesses and tries to improve himself. But here's what makes it powerful. A woman who challenges him does it out of love, not control. She doesn't tear him down. She simply believes he can do better, even when he doesn't believe it himself. She sees his potential long before he does. And then there's the spiritual challenge. A woman who follows her purpose and passion is incredibly attractive. When she moves through life with determination, she motivates him to do the same. She becomes a living reminder of what life can be when you don't give up on your dreams. That kind of energy is magnetic. So how do you become that kind of woman? It begins with knowing who you are. It starts with having your own goals, your own dreams, and your own expectations. It means being confidently yourself, not to scare him, but to inspire him. When you challenge a man to grow, you change both of your lives. You build a relationship based not only on comfort, but on growth. A man doesn't fall in love with a woman who makes him feel small. He falls in love with a woman who makes him feel capable of greatness. So dare to challenge him. Dare to be the woman who makes him rise. Because when you do that, you're not only building a relationship, you're building something lasting. Now let's shift to something deeply important. Peace. In a world that constantly demands more work, more money, more status, men long for calm. They crave a woman who can be their safe place. But peace isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about avoiding arguments or acting like nothing ever goes wrong. Real peace is creating a space where a man feels understood, accepted, and valued, even when life is messy. Think about it. When a man comes home after a long day, what does he want? He doesn't want more pressure, more conflict, or more stress. He wants a place where he can relax, where he can breathe, where he can let his guard down. He wants to be with someone who doesn't judge him harshly or criticize every move he makes. He wants to feel safe being himself, without fear of judgment or criticism. He wants a woman who can listen to him without trying to fix every single problem, someone who can offer comfort without needing to take control of everything. But here's the important part. Peace isn't something you can pretend to have. It's not about putting on a calm face while hiding real emotions inside. True peace comes from within. It comes from emotional stability, from knowing yourself, from having inner strength. And when you build peace within yourself, it naturally spreads around you and gives others a sense of calm they can feel just by being near you. So, how do you bring that kind of peace into a relationship? It begins with communication. It means speaking honestly but also kindly. It means talking about issues without turning them into battles and solving problems without creating wounds that last. It means choosing which things are worth arguing about and understanding when it's better to let something go. Peace also comes from being present. In a world full of distractions, being fully present with someone is rare and valuable. When you give a man your full attention, when you truly listen, when you make him feel heard and understood, you create a bond that cannot be easily broken. You become his safe place, the one person he can rely on when everything else in life feels too heavy. But peace isn't only about what you do. It's also about what you avoid. It's about refusing unnecessary drama, letting go of mind games, and not trying to control every detail of the relationship. It's about trusting him enough to give him space, and trusting yourself enough to know that you don't need to micromanage things to feel secure. And don't forget the power of gratitude. When you focus on the good in your relationship, when you appreciate the small things he does, when you recognize his efforts and celebrate even his little victories, you create an energy that lifts both of you. Gratitude shifts your attention from what's missing to what's already there, and that simple shift can change the entire direction of your relationship. In the end, a woman who brings peace into a man's life is a woman he never wants to lose. She becomes the calm in his storm, the steady support that carries him through the highs and lows of life. With her, he feels safe, he feels understood, he feels like he can breathe again, he feels like he's home. So if you want to be that woman, begin by creating peace within yourself. Learn to release the things you cannot control. Focus on what truly matters. Build a space where love can grow without fear, because when you bring peace into a relationship, you're not only giving him a gift, you are giving one to yourself too. Now let's talk about something many people misunderstand but is incredibly powerful. Men don't only want love, they want admiration. But let's make this clear. Admiration is not blind praise, and it's not about treating him like he's perfect. Admiration is about real appreciation. It's about noticing his strengths, his effort, his achievements, and letting him know you see them. When a man feels admired, he feels valuable. He feels like his existence makes a difference, and that feeling is powerful. Admiration becomes the fuel that pushes him to grow. It becomes the spark that keeps him moving even when life gets hard. When you admire a man, you're not just giving him a compliment, you're telling him, I see you, I appreciate you, I believe in you. And that message touches him deeply. But admiration must be real. It cannot be fake or forced. Men can sense insincerity faster than you think, and nothing turns them off more than empty praise that feels meaningless. So how do you admire a man in a way that is honest? You start by paying attention. Notice the small things. The way he works hard to support the people he loves, the way he protects his family, the way he stands up for what he believes in. Notice the qualities that make him unique and let him know you value them. Maybe he isn't very expressive, but he shows love through actions, fixing things, helping when you need him, being consistent. Admire that. Or maybe he's ambitious and always striving for more. Admire that. Or maybe he is gentle and caring, always thinking of others before himself. Admire that. Whatever it is that defines him, notice it, acknowledge it, and appreciate it. Admiration isn't only about what he does, it's also about who he is. Admire his character, his honesty, his courage, his patience, his resilience. Admire the man behind the actions. When you admire a man for who he is, you're not just boosting his confidence, you are reinforcing his purpose. You remind him of the man he wants to be, and that encouragement is powerful. Admiration also changes the entire relationship. When a man feels admired, he becomes more motivated. He wants to be better, not out of pressure, but out of inspiration. Admiration creates a positive cycle. Your appreciation fuels his effort, and his effort gives you more reasons to appreciate him. But admiration should go both ways. Just as you admire him, he should admire you too. Healthy love is built on mutual respect, where both people see each other's strengths. When admiration flows in both directions, the relationship becomes strong and supportive. It's not about competition, it's about growing together. So, how do you grow admiration in a relationship? Start with gratitude. Take time to notice the things you value about him and then say them out loud. Don't assume he already knows. Tell him, and be specific. Instead of saying, "You're great," say something like, "I really admire how hard you work for us," or "I appreciate how you always show up for the people you care about." Specific appreciation feels more real and meaningful. Also, admiration should always be balanced. It shouldn't make you lose yourself. It's not about putting him higher than you. It's about acknowledging his strengths while still honoring your own. When admiration comes from confidence, it builds a healthy connection. In the end, admiration is one of the strongest tools you have in a relationship. It's not only about making him feel good, it builds a deeper bond. When a man feels admired, he doesn't just feel loved. He feels unstoppable. Not because he needs to prove something, but because he knows someone truly believes in him. So if you want to be the woman he cherishes, admire him, not for what he owns, but for who he truly is. See the best in him. Celebrate his strengths. Let him know that his efforts matter and that his qualities do not go unnoticed. Because when you do that, you're not only shaping a relationship, you're building a legacy made of love, trust, and deep respect. Now let's move into something that many people misunderstand, yet it's absolutely necessary for any strong and healthy relationship: freedom. Men don't only want love, they also want to feel free. But here's the truth. Freedom in a relationship doesn't mean distance or lack of care. It doesn't mean letting him act however he wants without responsibility. Real freedom is built on trust. It's about creating a space where he can be himself, follow his passions, and grow as an individual, all while knowing you're standing beside him as his partner, not as someone trying to control his every move. Think about it. When a man feels free, he feels alive. He feels like he can breathe deeply, explore who he is, and take risks without constantly worrying that you'll withdraw your love. That kind of freedom is powerful. It's not about giving him permission to do anything he wants. It's about giving him confidence to be his real self. When you allow a man freedom, you're sending a message: I trust you, I believe in you, and I respect who you are. But here's something important. Freedom isn't something you can offer if you don't have it inside yourself. A woman who feels secure in her own worth, who understands her value, is the one who can give freedom without fear. She doesn't need to cling, control, or monitor him to feel safe. She knows that her value isn't tied to his choices, and that inner confidence allows her to love without putting chains on the relationship. So how do you create this sense of freedom? It starts with trust. Trust is the heart of real freedom. When you trust him, you're not doubting his intentions, checking his messages, or questioning every step he takes. Instead, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, and that creates a sense of security that control can never provide. Freedom also includes boundaries. It doesn't mean letting him cross lines or ignore your needs. It means setting clear, healthy boundaries and expressing them with respect. When you know your own limits and hold them with confidence, both partners feel safe and valued. Another major part of freedom is individuality. A strong relationship is made of two complete people, not two halves trying to fix or complete each other. When you have your own interests, your own goals, and your own life, you naturally allow him the space to do the same. You become partners who lift each other up, not two people who suffocate each other. Freedom in love is about trust, not fear. It's about loving him enough to let him be who he is, even when it's challenging. It's also about loving yourself enough to know you don't need to control him to feel secure. When you give a man freedom, you're not only giving him something precious, you're giving yourself peace too. You're creating a bond built on trust, respect, and shared growth. So how do you become a woman who offers that kind of freedom? It begins with self-awareness. It's about recognizing your fears and insecurities and working through them. It's about building your confidence so you don't try to control him out of fear. And it's about choosing trust even when it feels scary. When you give a man freedom, you're not pushing him away. You're giving him a reason to stay. You're building a relationship where he feels respected, understood, and truly valued. And when a man feels that, he will do everything he can to keep you close. Never forget, a man doesn't fall deeply in love with a woman who tries to control him. He falls for the woman who trusts him enough to let him be free. So dare to trust, Dare to release your fear and dare to create a kind of love that grows instead of suffocates. That's the kind of love that transforms everything. Now let's shift into something truly powerful. Inspiration. Men don't only want affection. They want a woman who inspires them. They want someone who lights a spark in their heart, who pushes them to dream bigger, work harder, and rise higher. But inspiration isn't about dramatic speeches or big gestures. It's about the way you live your everyday life. It's the energy you carry, the passion you show, and the future you are working toward. When a man is with a woman who inspires him, he feels like he can take on the world, and that feeling is unforgettable. Inspiration is the force that turns an ordinary relationship into something extraordinary. It's what takes love from simple comfort and turns it into something exciting and meaningful. A woman who inspires a man doesn't just make him feel good. She makes him feel alive. She reminds him of his potential, even when he doubts himself. She encourages him to rise above fear and insecurity and connect with the greatness inside him. But here's the important part. Real inspiration cannot be faked. It doesn't come from pretending to be someone you're not or performing for attention. True inspiration comes from being authentic. It comes from a woman who knows herself, who embraces her strengths, and who lives with purpose. When you follow your own dreams with steady determination, when you live your life with passion, you naturally become a source of inspiration to everyone around you, especially the man who loves you. So how do you become that kind of woman? It begins with knowing who you are. It's about understanding your values, your passions, and your goals, and then choosing to live in a way that supports them every single day. When you gain clarity about what truly matters to you, when you stay committed to your own growth, healing, and fulfillment, you naturally begin to radiate a kind of energy that people cannot overlook. It's an energy that speaks before your words do, an energy that shows you know who you are and where you want to go. It draws people in without effort because authenticity always has its own quiet power. It's also about resilience. Life will always bring challenges, some expected and some completely surprising. But a woman who inspires is someone who meets those challenges with courage, patience, and grace. She doesn't allow setbacks to define her story or limit her future. Instead, she treats them as lessons, as stepping stones, as reminders that she has the strength to rise again. Each time she gets back up, she becomes a little wiser, a little stronger, and even more grounded in herself. And when a man witnesses that kind of resilience in you, it sparks something inside him too. It encourages him to face his own struggles instead of running from them. It shows him that he too has the ability to endure, to grow, and to keep moving forward no matter how heavy life feels. But inspiration is not only about what you achieve or how you carry yourself. It is also deeply connected to how you make him feel. When you believe in him genuinely, when you notice his potential even in moments when he doubts himself, you give him a kind of courage he may have never felt before. Your support becomes the mirror he looks into when he forgets who he is. Your faith in him reflects the strongest, bravest version of himself, the version he strives to become. And that quiet belief, the way you see him even when he's struggling to see himself, is an incredibly powerful gift. Let's also not overlook the importance of vision. A woman who inspires is someone who carries a vision for her own life and for the life she hopes to build with her partner. She is not just focused on everyday routines or temporary moments. She is thinking about the bigger picture, the long-term dreams, the life she wants to create with purpose. She dreams about the future, and she welcomes him into that dream with openness and hope. When you share your vision with him, when you describe what the two of you can grow into, it awakens something inside him. It gives him direction, focus, and a sense of purpose beyond himself. It makes him want to step up, to contribute, to build something meaningful together. Your vision becomes a spark, something that inspires him to work toward a shared future with strength and intention. And here is the part people often forget. Inspiration has to be mutual. It cannot be one-sided. Just as you inspire him to grow, he should inspire you as well. A truly healthy connection is one where both partners bring out the best in each other, where both encourage each other to rise, improve, and evolve. When inspiration flows equally in both directions, it creates a bond that is uplifting, energizing, and deeply transformative. It becomes the kind of relationship where both people feel supported, motivated, and safe to become the best versions of themselves. So how do you create that kind of inspiration in a relationship? It begins with living your truth. Be fully and unapologetically yourself. Follow your passions with your whole heart, even when the path is uncertain. Set goals that excite you and pursue them with determination. When you live with honesty, purpose, and passion, you naturally become a source of inspiration to everyone around you, especially to the man who loves you. It's also about giving encouragement. Be his strongest supporter. Celebrate his victories, even the small ones. Remind him of his abilities on the days when he feels lost or discouraged, and when he falls, be the steady hand that helps him rise again. Your steady belief in him will push him to keep going, even when the road feels challenging. Your presence becomes the strength he leans on in difficult times. In the end, a woman who inspires a man is a woman he will never forget. She is the one who makes him feel like he can rise above his fears, like he can reach dreams he once thought were out of his reach. She makes him feel alive, capable, and full of potential. When he is with her, he doesn't just feel like he is living. He feels like he is thriving, growing, and becoming someone better. So if you want to be that woman, start by living a life that inspires you first. Follow your dreams with your whole heart. Face your challenges with courage and calm. Believe in yourself even when the world tries to shake your confidence. Because when you do, you won't just inspire the man in your life, you will inspire everyone who crosses your path. Love is not only about attraction, it is about connection. It is about forming a bond built on respect, challenge, peace, admiration, freedom, and inspiration. When you embody these qualities, you become the kind of woman a man does not just love, but deeply cherishes. So step fully into your power. Be the woman who lights up every room, who encourages him to grow, who brings calm to his storms, who appreciates his strengths, who gives him room to breathe, and who inspires him to rise into his best self. Because when you do, you are not only building a relationship, you are building a legacy of love, strength, and meaning that lasts far beyond the moment.